What's going on, everyone? So Steph Curry has really had his struggles to the point where it's kind of becoming a bit of a liability for Team USA. Obviously, defensively, he just doesn't have it. I mean, he's getting blown by regularly. Can't stay in front of basically anybody in the Olympics. So you have his defensive ailments and his defensive liabilities, but it's his shooting, right? He's so good shooting the basketball, greatest shooter of all time, and that is kind of the counterbalance, right? It's like, hey, what he provides offensively is significant enough to outweigh the poor defensive efforts that would present itself for Team USA. But the problem is too, he hasn't been very good offensively either, and shooting the basketball, right? I mean, he's 3 of 13 in his last since the group stages have begun. It's just he's not producing at a high enough level on the offensive side of things to justify the lack of defense. And look, Steph Curry, he's Steve Kerr's guy, right? Steve Kerr isn't going to bench Steph or swap it out or anything like that. And look, there is always the possibility, hey, shooters get in slumps, right? Maybe Steph, he makes the adjustment, he starts knocking down shots. Also, FIBA is very different than the NBA, right? Steph is accustomed to shooting a certain distance and, running a specific type of offense in which he's comfortable in. And, you look at just the differences, like the 3-point line being closer to the basket than at an NBA scale. Right? That could be the difference between throwing you off on your just rhythm, muscle memory, like where you like to be set when you're taking that shot. And you could argue like, hey, you could just step back and, take it from the distance in which you're comfortable with. But through the flow of the game, it's hard, right? Like you get the ball at the top of the key at the 3-point line. It's not easy to go, I'm going to take 5 steps back before I shoot this basketball, right? It's just, so it does make things challenging. It does present its obstacles, but he should be able to adjust. Now, what this also begs the question and concern of, is this just kind of the end of Steph Curry as the Steph Curry we know and love, right? Like you see it happen all the time to stars. They just hit this wall and they hit it abruptly, right? Yes, some guys you'll see the slow progression, but some guys just, one year they're really good and the next they're just not able to produce to the level in which that you're accustomed to see them producing. And that is definitely a concern with Steph, with the Golden State Warriors coming up, given his age. Now, I do think Steph, being the great superstar, just gravity puller that he is, only has so long of a shelf life, right? But I do think, Steph could probably play till he's 45 if he wanted to, just because of how good of a shooter he is. Eventually, he could just kind of step into that Ray Allen type role where he's basically just like the spot up, corner man or whatever on a team and just shoot the lights out. Now, will he actually play to that point? Probably not, right? Once he feels that he's no longer Steph, I would imagine that he's going to decide like, hey, it's time for me to hang it up. Would he ever really want to make that adjustment into being no longer the guy or one of the guys, but another guy? Probably not. Now, look, I don't necessarily think that Steph is washed or anything like that. I don't. I think Steph is going to have a very good NBA season coming up. I think he is going to just continue to be brilliant. I think he's going to continue to be great. But it definitely is a little concerning, to say the least, watching Steph and his performances with this Olympic team, right? Now, the reason I think he's had his struggles is a combination of things. I think one, he doesn't have the usage rate and opportunities, right? Especially as a shooter and primarily a shooter. Not saying that that's all he does. Steph is brilliant in a multitude of ways, but that's his bread and butter, right? That's how he's made his living, is being a shooter. And being able to get your repetitions, being able to get your shot attempts, right? You see it all the time in games. Steph will start like 0 of 3 from 3, and then he'll finish the game and he's like, 5 of 9 or something like that. It's like, man, the guy only missed 1 3 the rest of the way. And it's because he's able to get those reps up. He's able to get those shots up. He's able to have the ball and navigate the basketball court and specifically get to his spots and find the places that he likes. Where with Team USA and all the talent that is on it, it makes it very difficult. He's not getting the shot attempts he would be otherwise to where he can shoot himself out of a slump. I mean, even in, games just over the course of the NBA season, you'll see he'll go on like a 2-3 game stretch where he's just struggling, right? He's just not shooting well. His percentages dipped. He just can't find the bottom of the bucket. But eventually he can shoot himself out of it. And then he's right back to being Steph Curry, right? Can't really do that with Team USA, right? The offense is not catered to him and the way that he operates, right? Even if he was to be on another team, right, with other stars, right? Say, he goes to, let's say, just use the Lakers as an example. Let's say you have Anthony Davis and LeBron James, right? Steph still is one of the biggest pieces. He's still going to get the attempts, still going to get the opportunities. He's still going to get everything necessary for him to continue to deliver at a high level. But with Team USA, quarters or less, he's not getting 15 to 20 attempts per game. As I mentioned, the 3-point line is closer than it is at an NBA level. And you can't just, like I said, take 3 or 4 steps back just to get a shot up, right? You add all these things together, and all of a sudden, right, it's like, okay, that could qualify for his shooting woes. Now, I do think, more likely than not, I do think he kind of gets back into the rhythm and flow, and I think he'll have that game, maybe even several, where he just shoots the lights out, right? Like, I expect him to have a game where, he knocks down 3 or 4 threes and is just, very impressive, and everyone goes, oh, okay, Steph is still Steph, right? But it has been frustrating to watch him on the offensive side not be able to deliver, and then on the defensive side just basically might as well not even be on the basketball court on the defensive side. I mean, he's getting blown by regularly, and his offense isn't outweighing the lack of defense. But the Warriors in general, right? Like, this kind of falls into what I've talked about, right? Like, the Warriors are active in trying to land a Lauri Markkanen, and they it's looking more and more likely like they're not going to, because Lauri Markkanen, based on reports, doesn't want to be traded, and Utah's probably going to give him an extension, and the Warriors don't really seem willing to give up what is necessary to get Lauri Markkanen. So I think it's a safe bet that they don't land Lauri Markkanen. But the idea in general, right, of trading and going and getting that other piece for Steph, I just don't think, I mean, you owe it to Steph. You do. You owe it to Steph Curry to try to build a real championship contender and allow him an opportunity to maybe sneak out and win another championship. But realistically, given the situation the Warriors are in, given all the young talent that they have, I just don't think that the best course of action for the Warriors franchise is to sell the farm to go and get a mid-tier star. Right? Now, if you were able to go get Giannis or something like that, then yeah, you take the shot, right? It's like, man, those two, they could probably win a championship together, right? But to go sell all of your future to go get a Lauri Markkanen, like, Lauri Markkanen is not making you a contender, right? To go sell the farm and go get, some mid-tier all-star guy, it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, look, if Steph wants to stay and be a Warrior and retire Warrior, great, then let him. But I do think that you just look at the situation, and I really lean towards both sides need to kind of divorce, right? The relationship ran its course, right? And I just look at Steph, and it's just like, he still has the talent. He still can probably go win you another championship or two if he has the right team, right talent around him. And it doesn't even have to be the Lakers. I know I used, and so I know somebody in the comments is going to be like, of course, use the Lakers. No, not even that, right? He goes to another team, right? Just that has the talent. Go to Denver or play alongside Jokic or something, right? Like if he can just go to a situation where they have the proper talent to really compete and contend for an NBA championship, go to Philly and go play with Joel Embiid and Paul George, right? Like, something like that. I don't, like, it doesn't have to necessarily be LeBron and Anthony Davis. I just use them because the three of them have just been kind of the three amigos during the Olympics. But I think what the Warriors could get in return for Steph would just help jumpstart the rebuild further. And then you don't have to worry about trading your young guys. And, if that piece comes along or something that you're just like, we should go make a move for this guy at some point, right? Then do it. But I just think I think when Steph gets back from the Olympics, I just think the Warriors and him should have a real honest conversation. I think that they should sit down and go, hey, what do you want? Do you want to win? Or do you want to just stay a Warrior? And, if something comes along, sure, we'll take it. Again, like if Giannis becomes available, we'll try to go get him, right? But realistically, chances are we're probably not going to be able to build a team that is going to help you lead to a championship, right? We got all this young talent. The best course of the organization is to stick with that young talent. Are you okay with that? If you're not, tell us where you want to go. Tell us where you want to go and we'll work it out and we'll get you there, right? Like, where do you think you can win at? And we'll whatever we got to do, we'll do our best to get you to that destination, within reason, right? You tell them, like, we're not just going to give you away, but if we can, get the right package that makes sense, then we'll send you where you want to go, and I think you trade Steph. I really do. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think, it's time to move off Steph here, the Warriors? Do you think Steph is having his struggles because, he's starting to decline? Or do you think it's, it's just the elements of being in the Olympics as opposed to the NBA, right? And being on a team that's just so talented. How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Now subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.